I'm really excited to be here in Hamburg. I'm really excited to be a finalist for the Berlin Prize.
This freedom to play what I really want, it was one of the things that brought me to apply for Berlin Prize.
Because it felt more like a competition that accepted all forms of music.
There's a different atmosphere.
Ich habe einfach nach Möglichkeiten gesucht, mein eigenes Spiel weiterzuentwickeln.
Wenn Wettbewerb, dann vielleicht dieser.
My name is Francesco Palmieri. I'm 24 years old. I come from Porto San Giorgio, a small town in the center of Italy, and I'm currently living in Switzerland, in Basel, and I play guitar, classical and electric guitar. I'm not from a musical family, but my father used to play guitar in a rock band. So yeah, at some point when I was around 9 years old, I asked him to play guitar, and he brought me to a music school, and from then I started. I started playing classical guitar right at the beginning, and I actually continued playing classical guitar until now. I started with the electric guitar quite recently, like 3 years ago, more or less. One of the pieces is Quattro Nudi by Marco Momi. Yeah, the piece is divided in 4 movements, or kind of 4 pictures of this relationship between the performer, the guitarist, with its instrument. He writes in the preface that these 4 movements are about the evanescence of a dialogue that becomes monologue because there's no audience listening to it. So it's exactly what the program is about. I was really surprised that I arrived in the final. I didn't expect that, also because the program I'm presenting is not really a competition program. It's more, it's my dream program, but usually it doesn't work in a competition. That's also why I usually don't do competition. the point in many of the pieces is to embrace that possibility of mistake and fragility of the performance, of the live performance, as well as the intimate practice when you are in your room and you make mistakes and you try to fix it, or you try to embrace it, or the piece asks you to embrace it. The Bilone piece, Scorgo Y, he writes is written for left hand. In fact, the left hand combines the functions of the right hand and the left hand at the same time, so it's plucking the strings, but at the same time manipulating the strings and creating textures and sound and articulations and everything, basically. At the same time, the right hand is actually just moving, well, not just moving, but moving the whammy bar, so creating waves in the pitches and in the sound. It's really difficult because I'm just using the left hand, at least I'm using the left hand on the strings. I keep playing classical music from time to time with the classical guitar, not that often, but I'm trying to keep doing both things. Obviously, I'm focusing on the contemporary music, and also I'm trying to balance the classical guitar with the electric guitar. Even if the program I'm presenting now is just with the electric guitar, I'm trying to do both things at the same time, because I think the two instruments are totally different, and they both need their space in the new music scene. To play solo with an orchestra, it's a totally different feeling, especially with the classical guitar. It's extremely frustrating because of the volume, because of actually the fragility of the instrument, that you don't have to embrace it, and you have to pretend to be solid on stage and loud, thing that you're not. So I feel much more comfortable in being fragile and playing this kind of repertoire.
Ich bin Eszter Kruchió, ich spiele Geige und bin 28 Jahre alt. Ich war 5 Jahre alt, als ich angefangen habe, Geige zu spielen. Das Ganze war eigentlich eher ein Zufall. Meine Mutter hat mich immer in die Musikschule mitgenommen, wenn mein Bruder Geigenunterricht hatte. Und anscheinend habe ich immer herumgetanzt, herumgesungen, und dann hat die Geigenlehrerin gesagt, versuchen wir jetzt doch mal mit ihr. Und so habe ich dann die Geige das erste Mal in meine Hände bekommen und seitdem nicht weggelegt. Als Kind fand ich Symphonieorchester unglaublich beeindruckend, und ich bin auch mit meinen Eltern in viele symphonische Konzerte gegangen, und das war lange etwas, was mir schon vor Augen geschwebt hat. Auch natürlich in Wien hat man viele große Orchester, und es gibt auch in Österreich einige sehr, sehr gute Orchester. Das war schon schon so ein bisschen meine Berufsvorstellung als Kind. Das hat sich dann aber in meinen Teenagerjahren sehr in die Kammermusik umgewandelt. Und als ich dann das erste Mal ein ernsthafteres Quartett hatte, war mir klar, eigentlich, wenn es irgendwie geht, dann ist diese Richtung, in die ich gehen möchte. Ich habe mein Programm um die Bartók-Solosonate herum gebaut. Weil das ist schon ein Werk, das ich immer schon unbedingt spielen wollte, aber das so ein bisschen wie ein Mount Everest vor mir gestanden ist und wo ich auch einfach den Mut fassen musste, um da endlich mal dran zu gehen. Und meine Idee war, Stücke auszuwählen, die Bartók-Solosonate in gewisser Hinsicht kommentieren oder ein Element mit ihr gemeinsam haben oder auch im Kontrast mit ihr stehen. Und ich finde auch ganz oft wird neue Musik in Programmen irgendwie mit Erklärungsnot verwendet. Also sozusagen, wir spielen ein modernes Stück, deshalb müssen wir danach ganz, ganz dringend einen Mozart spielen, sonst kann das nicht angenommen werden oder davor. Und ich habe versucht, das ein bisschen umzudrehen und quasi die Bartók-Sonate, die ja nun wirklich kein neues Stück mehr ist, okay, sie ist jetzt auch nicht so unglaublich alt, aber 1944 komponiert, also es ist keine zeitgenössische Musik. Und ich habe dazu zeitgenössische Stücke gewählt, um die Bartók-Solosonate leichter zugänglich zu machen. Ein Element, das, glaube ich, alle Stücke verbindet, ist ein bisschen das Folkloristische. Das Stück von Kaja Saariaho, die Nocturne, hat auch einen Mittelteil, der eigentlich auch ein bisschen klingt wie ein Dorffest. Ein verzerrtes Dorffest, aber doch ein Dorffest. Und die Nocturne von Kaja Saariaho, einer finnischen Komponistin, habe ich auch ausgewählt, weil Bartók das Genre der Nachtmusik sozusagen sehr oft verwendet. Und das ist etwas, was eine Stimmung, die in vielen seiner Klavierwerke, aber auch Quartetten häufig vorkommt. Wenn ich an den Begriff der Nacht denke und eben auch Nachtmusik, dann fällt mir sofort ein, dass in der Nacht die Sinne geschärft sind, weil man kann sich nicht so sehr auf die Augen verlassen. Deshalb hört man anders, man hört andere Dinge vielleicht. Und die Sicht andererseits ist verzerrt. Also vielleicht sieht man irgendwo etwas und plötzlich stellt sich heraus, es ist gar nicht, wofür man es gehalten hat. Oder die Konturen sind ganz verschwommen. Oder man glaubt, etwas gesehen zu haben und da war doch gar nichts. Also ein unglaublich fantasiereicher Zustand, der auch sehr viel, glaube ich, Freiheit irgendwo zulässt. ich möchte mit meinem Programm auf keinen Fall in Frage stellen, dass es eine Berechtigung hat, ein Werk als Ganzes in seinem Zusammenhang zu spielen. Ich denke, das muss man machen und das ist richtig so. Ich denke aber auch, dass man Mut haben darf, Werke aufzubrechen und ich glaube nicht, dass es Häresie ist, Sätze voneinander zu trennen. Und ich glaube oder ich hoffe, dass ich damit einfach das Publikum durch eine noch längere, noch komplexere und noch zeitlosere, noch gegenwärtigere Reise führen kann.
I'm Joy Goodry. I'm 25 years old. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, but I now live in Brooklyn, New York, and I play the bassoon and the theremin. When I got into band in middle school, I just go on YouTube and search oboe, because I started on saxophone, but I hated it. So, and of course, when you search oboe, a lot of orchestra comes up, and the more I heard them, just kind of fell in love with it. Senior year of high school, switched to bassoon, then started a music ed degree at the state school in Texas, hated it. So I practiced a lot to transfer to Peabody Conservatory. And once I was there, it was like classical, which I do not do anymore. It started to really affect my mental health of just constantly practicing the same thing over and over again. And then at a certain point, I just kind of hit a wall where like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I still love playing orchestral rap. Like looking at it as a superior music form, it's really fun to just learn different styles of music. I used to be extremely rebellious. So I started bringing different kind of rep to my teacher, and he was like, no, you're not playing this. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. So I did it. It's much harder than classical music. You know, it just is. Going like the piece I recorded today, form, content, negotiations, there's a lot of multiphonics. It's extremely high. You have to do a lot. Now, if I go back to Rite of Spring, it's just like, okay, cool. It's no problem. So again, like learning different styles, you can apply in many different ways. But yeah, I just felt the need to play music by people that I can contact. I don't need a Ouija board to talk to Strauss. But I just needed diversity with the music I was playing. Yeah, I was a lecturer at New York Public Library with Claire Chase and George Lewis. So after, we call him Uncle George, he just put me and Jesse together. He was like, you need to know each other. You're both Black. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, who are you? And Jesse immediately told me, like, I need someone to premiere this bassoon piece. And he sent it to me. And at that point, like, I played a lot of contemporary music, but not that. So I looked at the score and I put it away until I think a whole year later. I decided to learn it. We worked on it, I guess, like in a very different kind of way. The workshop, I played it for him, and then he was like, no, let's just improv it. He does a lot of improvisation, hypernotation. He's a big fan of like the Sun Ra Orchestra. And playing it with him just on percussion and bassoon, it gave me a sense of space and just understanding that you can really make this piece for what it is. So growing up my whole life, I was a pretty thick bitch. That is just a fact. I've had to truly learn to love myself. I've had to truly go back and cure and just hold my inner child. It's actually me and my friend Olivia Short, we wrote together. And she exists in many different times and spaces at once. It kind of came together in a way. We both kind of struggle with similar things because Olivia is indigenous and non-binary and Black and non-binary and fat and like all of these great things. And I just kind of hit a breaking point with European beauty standards and just having such a hard time finding clothes, especially clothes for performance or just a lot of shit. So we talked about it, and then I had a couple glasses of Prosecco and got on the mic and just kind of ranted about everything that I felt, essentially, about the world and how it treats Black people, Black fat people, non-binary trans people, trans women, Black trans women, and it was really fun. The place I recorded the rant was in my apartment in Brooklyn, and it just felt very natural to be at home, and none of my roommates were home, so I could really say whatever I want, and yeah, it was a great time. Crazy. It's 2020. Y'all need to get it together. The world needs to change because there's so many beautiful people out here that don't see themselves as beauty because of white supremacy and Western beauty. And yeah, fuck that. And to all my hoes out here that aren't 150 pounds, just know that you a fine ass bitch. Just know that you out here, girl. You look amazing. And if some days you don't feel amazing, that's okay. You don't have to be strong for other people. Just be strong for yourself. You don't have to be confident all the time. If you don't feel great, put on those sweatpants. Cover your stomach if that's what you need to do for that day. But just know that you are loved. You deserve love. I want my show to be one story. So I'm working on finding different transitions and I talk about mental health a lot. It's my thing. Because no part of this world is set up for neurodivergent people. Just be myself, not try to fit any kind of mold of what a concert should look like. Really encourage people to cough. I feel like I've been in many concerts where I feel like I was going to fucking die because I couldn't cough, and you can't open a water bottle because you're going to mess up the cord. Radical self-love. It's gotten me through a lot this year. It's got me through a lot.
My name is Kevin Lee Sun. I am a 28-year-old pianist from Sacramento, California. I'm not from a musical family. My family is a family of engineers and pediatricians from communist China. My grandfather was a structural engineer. He studied, though, at a German missionary school in China. There he was immersed in the arts, especially European classical arts, and he came to love piano music and opera. His favorite musicians were Vladimir Horowitz and Maria Callas. And he instilled that love for European classical music in my dad, who then signed me up for lessons when I was 5, and I took to it very, very quickly. My mom comes from a different family. Her father was more of a political figure in China, and she loves music, especially Chinese folk music and Chinese popular music. I think that combination in my heritage of love for Asian popular music and folk music, as well as an interest in European classical music, has really shaped who I am artistically. Right now, at this point in my life, I have made a really crucial decision about my role in society. And I think my role in society is to be a musician who elevates the voices of composers who are rarely heard, a musician who programs diversely, a musician who sparks empathy in the audience based on music that is emotionally relevant to today, that is meaningful for our current society. I used to be a medical student. For a while, I was studying medicine at Stanford University. While I was there, I was really interested in psychiatry because I think my open-mindedness and my interest in all sorts of subjects led me to find fascinating the human brain, the diversity of human thought processes and behavior in my patients. As I was listening to their stories and their various ways of speaking about their own feelings and thoughts, I thought back to my own education in the classics. I thought about it scientifically from my biology major. I was moved towards empathy in hearing all these stories from my psychiatry patients, from the diversity of experiences that they had. Now, as a musician, I find that those two things, empathy and diversity, are defining elements of my artistry. Hyoshin Na's Rain Study, written in 1999, uses a Korean folk song called Sanyonbul, and it has these really meaningful lyrics. The sun that sets will rise again tomorrow. A life that passes will never return. It's this kind of meditation on the fleeting element of human life, on mortality. When I play this piece, at first, the folk song is obscured by all these clusters of notes, all these dissonances. It sounds like the rain, thus the name of the piece, Rain Study. At the second half of the piece, the folk song emerges from the rain. Slowly the rain lets up and we hear the music, the folk element, the Asian wisdom, basically, that's behind this piece. I find that the use of the folk song emerging out of the sounds of nature, that is connected to the Robert Schumann piece I'm playing, Songs of the Early Morning. When he sent these to his publisher, he described them as feelings at the growth and the approach of the morning. More so the depiction of feelings than painting pictures of the morning. And these feelings of the morning are conveyed by songs, gesänge, that emerge out of the rising of the dawn, that emerge from the dawn. And so this idea of this song, this beautiful aspect of thinking about human conditions, about mortality, about human life, about what it means to be alive, emerging out of nature, I think is what connects these pieces together. One thing I try to communicate to my friends who think that classical music is basically white supremacy, is basically elevating white culture on a pedestal, is to paint a picture. Music that I play is basically laid out in a circle. The piano is this vast repertoire, and we are really lucky to have it. At the center of the circle, the origin of this circle, the center of it, is the classical canon. This traditional music is really meaningful and rich with color, and I could spend my entire life there at the center of the circle, playing it and making other people very happy with its beauty and its meaning. But I tell my friends, I am trying to go to the edge of the circle. I'm trying to push against the edge, to poke at it and prod at it and see where that edge is and how far it can go. This edge is culturally and stylistically undefined. It's new. It's not within the tradition. This music is relevant, is changing, is not just from that point in the center of the circle anymore. That it can grow and expand and include them and their voices and their perspectives too. In psychiatry, we were primarily focused on diagnosing and therapeutics. There was a lot of thinking about who we are and why we think the way we do and how it impacts our behaviors, right? There's a lot of that kind of metacognition going on. But on stage, I clear all that out. The idea is that I am not anything or anyone. I am in a zone of extreme empathy. That's all I can really say and define it as. I just become feelings.
I am Núria Carbó. I am 23 years old. I am from Catí, a little town in Valencia, in Spain, and I play percussion. I am the first generation of musicians in my family. Well, my grandfather used to play snare drum in the military band when he was young, and now he still plays sometimes in the wind band of my hometown. And yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why I chose percussion when I was 7 years old. And yeah, I first started to play in the wind band of my hometown. When I go there, and it's really nice because I have the opportunity to share the stage with him. He's a bit stubborn sometimes, but it's really nice. And I think, you know, we should never forget where we come from, where are our roots, where we start to be who we are right now, no? And it's really nice to come to my hometown and play with them, and it's something I would really want to keep doing as much as I can. I love to play in orchestra. When I was in Barcelona, I played really in a lot of orchestras, and I was joining the youth orchestra in Catalonia, and I love to play with them. You play few stuff, but it's that few stuff that you have to do perfect, and you have to do research for that. And I really love to play this, but I think it was more that you don't have the chance to do the creativity, to have more freedom in your playing. It's this world of everybody plays the same, everybody plays the same excerpts, everybody wants to be better than the one before, it's this daily life competition that I was not really comfortable with. And I found myself thinking of what I'm going to do. It's not where I belong. And I also played some jazz in the bachelor, and was something that really made me discover like there's freedom playing. It's not just playing what is written. And jazz and new music were my other two exits from that, and I choose new music, but I still play jazz from time to time. Animata by Pierluigi Villone, it's the basis of my program. It's really a first sight love with this piece. It was from the beginning. I felt really connected to. You have to learn to play the marimba in another completely different way that you did before, and I think Villone does it amazing. The research for sounds, also not for the performer, but for the audience. It's really amazing to hear it from outside. It's 20 minutes, but it makes I feel it like it's 5, because it's really crazy what he does. This research of wood, of the sound of the wood, brought me to Idem by Arturo Corrales. That also, he says, it's not a piece for marimba and setup. It's a piece for bass drum, wood blocks, and marimba. It's mixes the sound of the woodblocks with the marimba and makes one instrument with that, and also the bass drum doing kind of clave rhythm, but almost you cannot hear it because it's so extended that it's not perceivable, but it's there, and it's really it's really cool. In the program of Berlin Prize, I use different ways of playing the marimba, not the ordinary ones with just the mallets, 2 or 4 mallets or even 6. For Mani Mata, for example, I play the marimba with the bass drum mallet, which creates in the low part of the marimba creates this atmosphere of only this, that actually I'm playing a lot of notes, but in the public you hear this really amazing sound.
Ich bin die Flora, ich bin 27 Jahre alt und ich komme aus einer kleinen Stadt in Oberösterreich, Everding, und habe aber meinen Lebensmittelpunkt in Wien. Ich habe zuerst mit Geige angefangen als kleines Kind. Da hatte ich ein Vorbild, wo ich irgendwo eine Geige gesehen habe in einem Musical auf einer Bühne und wollte das dann auch spielen. Und ich wollte dann ins Jugendsinfonieorchester in Oberösterreich und die brauchten nur Bratschen. Und deswegen bin ich auf die Bratsche umgestiegen, weil ich außerdem auch gemerkt habe, dass die Stimmung in der Bratschen-Sektion immer viel angenehmer ist als bei den Geigen, wo es ein bisschen die Ellbogen gibt teilweise. Ich habe immer viel gesungen. Ich habe auch eher eine Stimme, die sich gut mischt und nicht so eine Solistenstimme ist. Was mir aber jetzt zugutekommt mit dem, was ich mache, weil ich einfach die Bratsche und die Stimme sehr gut mischen kann, weil die Bratsche ist ja auch eher ein Instrument, das eher so ein Misch- und Verschmelzungsinstrument ist eigentlich, und das ergänzt sich dann eigentlich genau mit meiner Stimme. Also im Bratschenstudium habe ich mich ein bisschen eingeengt gefühlt auf die klassische Musik auch, weil ich auch ich wollte zeitgenössische Musik machen, aber ich war halt nicht in diesem Spezialstudium für zeitgenössische Musik, deswegen fand ich da irgendwie dann nicht Platz und ich brauchte einfach dieses Freispielen und dieser unperfekte Ansatz. Also das eine war diese im Bachelor schon irgendwie auf das Probespiel hintrainierende Ausbildung, wo es um jede Bogenkippung, Stelle, was auch immer, um diese ganzen winzig kleinen Kleinigkeiten geht. Und das ist auch gut, aber das hat mich nie fasziniert. Das Spontane, der Moment ist einfach das, was mich fasziniert in der Musik. Also was zwischen Leuten passiert, die Erfahrung mit Musik im Moment haben und was da für magische Dinge rauskommen können. Also Improvisation ist einfach meine große Leidenschaft, wo ich merke, da geht mir das Herz auf und das will ich unbedingt immer machen, in welchen Musikrichtungen auch immer, aber das muss ein Teil davon sein. Die Ursonate von Schwitters ist eigentlich ein dadaistisches Gedicht und ich habe da die Silben musikalisch verstanden und mit der Bratsche verknüpft, also versucht genau den Klang der Silben auch zu finden mit irgendwelchen Special Effects auf der Bratsche und das so zu verknüpfen und das hat dann auch irgendwie so was Absurdes und ja, Zungenreden-Feeling, glaube ich. In vielen der Stücken spielen halt weniger der Text an sich, sondern mehr die Silben des Textes und der Klang dieser Silben eine Rolle. Und das verbinde ich dann eben, also es geht viel um die Verschmelzung zwischen der Bratsche und der Stimme, dass das tatsächlich eine Einheit wird. Man würde gerne im angenehmen Schatten verweilen, verweilen, verweilen. Doch es dreht sich, dreht sich, dreht sich die Welt und die Schatten eilen mit ihr und der Zeit. Erst als ich begonnen habe, jetzt mich als Solistin so wieder zu verstehen und den Versuch, also ich habe mich bemüht, jetzt mal diese ganzen verschiedenen Dinge, die ich mache, auf einen Nenner zu kriegen, weil ich mache so viele verschiedene Dinge und das liebe ich auch, aber in diesem Programm oder mit diesem Viola Voice Dings möchte ich halt schon auch alles Mögliche zeigen, was ich kann und für mich vereinen und da gehört dann eben irgendwie auch das Textschreiben dazu und das möchte ich auch, dass es noch mehr wird. Man würde gerne im angenehmen Schatten verweilen, doch die Schatten eilen, eilen. Und wir eilen mit. Ja, na, na, ja, ba, ba, ja, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, ja, da, da, ja, da, 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 ja, ja, da, ja, da, da, da. Ich habe immer so viel unterschiedliche Dinge gemacht, dass ich gedacht habe, das geht sich irgendwie aus alles. Also ich komponiere, dann spiele ich dort in der Folkband, dann da Singer-Songwriter-Projekt, dann zeitgenössische Musik-Stuff. Das macht auch das Krautfett so. Mal schauen, wie es weitergeht. Ich finde das schon sehr schön so. Vielleicht werden sich die Projekte ein bisschen reduzieren und dafür mehr wachsen. Das kann sein, aber das ist schon nach wie vor so mein Ding.
I'm really, really excited to be in Berlin and to be with the other finalists and hopefully hear their complete programs too.
Dass ich jetzt im Finale des Berlin Prize bin, bestärkt mich sehr darin, wie wichtig es ist, meine eigene Stimme zu pflegen.
I think this confirms that there's opportunities to play this music.
My ideal career in the future, I think, is just a future that provides a sense of comfort, very little regret.
Es fühlt sich ja auch gar nicht so sehr jetzt wie ein Wettbewerb an.
We're more like, yeah, doing what we like the best we can. but it's not really a competition. We're not really competing with each other.